afternoon. I'm Marcia Conley for the Association of Lifelong Learners. We're glad to welcome you today, and if you would mute your speakers at home and your cell phones in the room, we'd appreciate that. Today we have Kathy Freel joining us from the Sunrise Center, a substance use disorder center. And it's been here for nearly 45 years, so it's an institution we're familiar with, but we can learn a lot more today. So Kathy, we'll look forward to hearing from you. Kathy's been working at the Sunrise Center for 7 years, and she is a certified alcohol and drug counselor and clinical supervisor there, as well as program director. She brings a background in education as well to her management of their 2 facilities. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks. So thank you very much for the nice introduction. I'm looking forward to being here and helping you to get to know a little bit more about Sunrise Center. First off, I'd like to say, yes, I have been there more than 7 years, and I was a teacher in a previous life, is what I used to say. But I still am a teacher because I just teach a different type of people now. So if you're not aware, people who are addicts, they tend to stop emotionally growing from when they start using. So if they start at a younger age, they kind of stop right there and they get stuck in that area for a while. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself first, because I am a lifelong learner. I consider myself that. And a little bit of background about myself is ACC is very important to me. I did my undergrad here, so I got my associate's degree here. And then I also did Spring Arbor University, and I took classes here for both my bachelor's and my master's. So this has been an institution that has been long lived and part of my family. My grandfather was the first dean of the college here. Stanley E. Van Leer is my grandfather. And not many people know that. So this college means a lot to me. And I love that when they did the remake over there and everything, they left it Van Leer Hall. Because every day when I drive by here to work and I'm on my way home from work, I drive by here and it reminds me of my grandfather. And he used to have this nickname for me, and I probably won't say it because it's not very kind. Well, I might as well just do it. He called me Sassy Morassy Peapod. That's what he called me growing up. But he was a huge person in my life when it comes to education and wanting to learn. And he instilled that value in me at a young age, as well as my grandmother, Charlotte Van Leer, because she was also a teacher. And she was a principal, I believe, at Maple Ridge, which was one of the elementary schools that I went to, because I grew up in Alpena. We left for a while, but came back. And I'm so glad to be part of Alpena, you know, and be able to live here and help people in our community. So thank you again. And my mom told me she was going to be here today, and she's not here. So I just sent her, when I had my phone on a minute ago, I sent her a message that said, I miss seeing you. So we'll see if she gets the hint, because she told me she looked in the catalog and she said, you're going to be there. She said, I think Marcia is her friend, and they were going to come to this, but lo and behold, they're not here, but that's okay. So anyhow, Sunrise Center. I was a teacher downstate, and then we moved back home, and I taught at Bingham Arts, and Bingham Arts closed, as everybody knows. And when they closed, I had to find something else. So I worked for a moment at Michigan State University Extension Office as a nutritionalist. Well, another form of teaching once again. And then from there, I was going to Michigan Works one day, and I saw on the board where Sunrise Center was hiring a counselor. And I looked at the job description and I said, I can do that. And I called, got an interview, and they hired me the next day for my educational background, because they wanted somebody with a teaching experience in that. So like I said, I am still a teacher. I just teach a different type of teaching. So I started as a counselor, then became a lead counselor, and then clinical supervisor, and now I'm the program director. So I've been there for more than 7 years, and I plan to retire from there. I will tell you, it's a hard job. It takes a very special type of person to work and to manage and not bring it home with you every day. Because I don't know if there's any nurses or anybody else who works with behavioral health or anything, but it's a hard field, just as in teaching and everything is. But it's also very rewarding because we get these aha moments, and it's seeing them in the clients. I wish that I could have brought a couple of my coworkers with me, because my residential tech supervisor is a person in long-term recovery. We consider people in long-term recovery if they are in recovery for more than 5 years. He had his 5-year mark Sunday. He went through and he was one of my clients. And now I get to work with him every day, and I get to see him every day, and I get to see the change that has transpired in this man and the change in his life, because he came from jail. And he calls himself a Clare County boy, and his nickname was McFoyley. He was a meth addict. So meth, heroin, whatever it was. So he was that, and he came into the program with the intention of, I'm gonna just do this, and then I'm gonna go back out, and I'm gonna cook meth, and I'm gonna do that again, and I'm gonna smoke marijuana, and nothing's really gonna be different, except for I won't do the meth. He said at a point that like 45 days in, he hit a transition, and the transition was he realized that he wanted more and that he was worth more. And he stayed, I think, 92 days. And then he made a geographical change, and he came up here and he started in the mission, the Sunrise Mission. And then he got a job, oh gosh, I can't even tell you where, and he came to outpatient. And eventually he said, I want to work for you. And we hired him as a part-time technician. And now he's the residential tech supervisor. He's come a long ways, and I'm very proud of him and his accomplishments. So when we see little things like that, it makes a world of difference. I don't know if you're aware of the rates. Most of the people who come in go back out and use again. The odds are definitely against them. So if we hit them at the right time, in the right moment, that's the best thing that could ever happen. So we hope to hit that window. When an addict calls or an alcoholic calls, we try to get them in as quickly as possible. Because if we tell them we don't have a bed for a week, they usually don't come. They change their mind, they go back out, and they start using again. So we have a window, and it's a window of opportunity. I will tell you personal experience. I have a son who is a heroin addict. So that hits close to home. I have a brother who is the Birdman. He is in long-term recovery from alcoholism. He has been clean and sober for more than 25 years. So that's a good one. I had a great aunt who was an alcoholic. I had a grandfather who drank beer every day, you know. Everybody has someone in their lives who either drinks or drugs. And there's also a lot of trauma. Past trauma or childhood trauma plays a lot into it. Somebody who has had trauma in their life is more likely to become susceptible to alcohol or drug use and misuse and that. So that's a little background about me and things that are important to me. I love what I do. If I didn't love what I did, I wouldn't be there anymore, because like I said, it is a hard job. I'm an emotional person. I wear my emotions on my face all the time and in my voice, and I get teary and I cry with them and I hug them and I participate with them. We get people who come in, okay. There's different ways you can come in. You can come in because you want to come in. You can come in because you're forced to by either drug court or PO or something. So however someone comes in, we really hope that they get what they need, or a kernel that will help them when they leave, even if they don't stay in recovery. So we hope that they get something. So we get people who come in from the jails with just their little orange flip-flops like things on and their orange stuff. So we try very hard to have extra clothes around, toiletries, things like that, because they might come with nothing. Other people come with everything. It's like they're moving their whole house in because they might have burned so many bridges that they don't have any place to go. And their family is playing hardball, you know, or whatever you want to call that, and no longer wanting to enable them. So we get different strokes of people. This disease does not care if you're a teacher, if you're a politician, if you are a ditch digger, what you do, it does not care. It will latch on and it will take your life away. I tell the clients that their addiction is out in the parking lot doing jumping jacks, waiting for them to leave the facility. You know, because it's like, we're like a bandage. They come in and they get help, and hopefully we can provide them with the resources that they need, the positive support, talk to them about toxic relationships and toxic people in their life, and hit a point where they want to make a change, you know, and get them some relapse prevention skills, things like that, something that they can use to help them once they leave, because it's like a bandage. Come in and they're in this safe little bubble while they're there, and then they go back out. If anybody has the opportunity to watch a video called The Anonymous People, it's a documentary. It's like a 90-minute documentary, and it was made, I think in the 90s, so it's older. Excellent documentary. It talks about anonymity and opening up, you know, and all the different things and different pathways and stuff. So we are moving into different pathways too. And I don't know if you know what that means. So traditionally, Sunrise Center was abstinence-based. So you didn't come in and drink or drug or do anything when you were there, you know, abstinence-based. And we followed a 12-step model, which was like NA or AA. So we still do, but we're not abstinence-based. We have moved into like an MAT. We're just starting. Whereas I don't know if you're familiar with buprenorphine or Suboxone. So Suboxone is an opiate blocker. And if somebody comes in with an active prescription for that now, we will allow them to take that. And if they want to, we will taper them off of it. So we are now doing that. We're also giving Vivitrol shots, which also works as an opiate blocker and is used for alcohol, you know, so to get people through that. I guess I should tell you what our programs are. Yes. So maybe we'll start there. So we have a continuum of care. Our continuum of care starts with detox. People can come in for detox withdrawal management, and that generally takes 3 to 5 days. Not everybody comes in for detox. We have 24/7 nursing at the facility. So we have to have a nurse on site if there's a detox in the house. So this is my plug right here, I was telling you. I'm actually looking for a nurse to hire right now, LPN or RN. If somebody knows one, I have a full-time position available at an awesome place to work. So I do have one spot. So we are very limited in our detox treatment right now because I have to have a nurse. So we are currently taking detox on Sunday nights and Monday day because they have to be done detoxing by Thursday because I don't have nursing coverage 24/7 after that. So at the facility right now, we have 3 people in there detoxing. We can detox from opiates and alcohol, and it is medicated assisted. If they start having seizures or something, then we call 911 and we send them to the hospital. If they need a higher level of care than we can provide, we do not hesitate to call the hospital and send them. So currently we have 3 RNs and 2 LPNs. I have a DNP, which is a doctor of nurse practitioner with a specialty in psychiatric medicine. And we have a medical director also who is in MD, and she is board certified in addiction medicine. So we have a really good medical staff. We just need one more nurse. But there is nursing services 24/7. When addicts come in, they typically come in and they haven't been to the dentist, they haven't been to the doctor, they haven't got their glasses or anything, or lost them all. They're very needy. It's a very needy group of people, and they want everything right now, right then, very impulsive natured and stuff. So we try to get them to slow down and do that. But So our nurses also help with everyday, setting up appointments and all of that. We work a lot with CMH. We get people from behavioral health from the point, and we work with them. We work with different community partners. Baby Center is a huge Hope Shores Alliance. We try to work with everybody so that we give our clients the best possible care that they can have. I have 7 full-time clinical people. So I have a master's degree and I'm a certified alcohol and drug counselor, along with being the clinical supervisor, and I'm a certified clinical supervisor. So I have LPCs, I have BSWs, so licensed professional counselors, bachelor social workers. We have people who are on their CADCs and our CAADCs and there's all kinds of different acronyms in this field. I think there is everywhere. So we have a really diverse clinical staff who bring a wealth of knowledge to our team. And so everybody has like their own little niche, like somebody might be really helpful for people with CPS, because we have many clients who have lost their children. They've had them taken away. And we hope for reunification with families, and we work with them for that. Hopefully that happens. Doesn't always happen. But so there's that. I jump around a lot. I'm a squirrel, just so everybody knows. So if you need me to stop and you have a question, just stop me, okay? Or if you don't understand something, I'm more than happy to reel myself in and stop and go back and answer any questions. So anytime, please do. So we have the withdrawal management. I have 4 detox beds for males, and I have 2 female detox beds. So we can have a maximum of 6 detox in-house at one time. If you're familiar with the center at all, we are in the old nunnery back there. So that's our main office behind the new DHHS. And so, the old Catholic Central down there, and they ripped that down and they put up the new DHHS. So we're in the nunnery part. That's our main building, and that's where the men are housed. And then if you go across that parking lot and you go past the Boosters Club, right before the railroad tracks, there's a red brick building, and that's our family recovery center, and that's where the women are. So we have the men in this house and the women in this house. They used to have them together, and that was a problem. Very problematic. Yeah, they wanted to play. So I hear stories about, and you were talking about that, about how they would take, about earlier days. They used to take the door off between the men and the women's dorms at night and have some hanky-panky and stuff, I guess. So anyhow, they did that. But we are right down there. So we're behind the new DHHS, and the Boys and Girls Club is in the big remodel right now. We do own part of the soccer fields, and so we let the community use those, which is awesome. So part of that's ours. I guess we have some really wonky property lines over there. Not sure how it works, but so our men and our women are separate. We try very hard to keep them separate, because we found that they get a better treatment if they're not distracted. They have a very structured day. So, they get up at 6:30 every morning, and they have to PBT, which is blow into a breathalyzer to see. So we blow them for alcohol, PBT, every day. And first thing in the morning, they have to have their rooms cleaned, their beds made, and have their breakfast. And their first group starts at 8:30. They have didactics and groups all day. So they have a group from 8:30 to 10. They have a group from 10:30 to 12. Then they get lunch from 12 to 1. Then they have a group from 1 until 2:30. They get a 15-minute break. And they have a group from 2:45 to 3:45. And then they get a 15-minute break, and then they do cleaning every day. So they have chores and they do cleaning. And then they get a break until after dinner at 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, we have in-house NA or AA meetings every night for all the residents. And then after that, they have a step study. So, and then after that, they have MIs where they talk about what was good for their day, and what they learned or something about that. And then they have lights out at 10:30. So they have a very structured day, long day. It works for them. And that's Monday through Friday. Saturday, they have like a half day of groups, and Sunday we have John Pace is super. We used to have Mike Cornelius. Mike Cornelius used to come every week and go to both houses and offer a Bible study. Well, now John Pace does. And that's out of the goodness of their hearts and just their desire. We talk a lot about higher powers and spirituality, and being open-minded. Yeah. Try and get a bunch of addicts to be open-minded. They're set in their way. That's a rough one. So they do have a very structured day. I brought this. This is just map. Well, it's got Michigan. It's broken into 10 parts. There are 10 different sections, and this is different SUD coordinators, so substance use disorder coordinators. So what these are is it's broken down by PIHPs, which is prepaid inpatient health plans. So we take mainly Medicaid clients at the center. So this is our region right here, Region 2, which is 21 counties. And this is Northern Michigan Regional Entity. So we contract with them. So many of our clients come from this area right here, but we also contract with this area, number 5, which is that big area that makes up the meat of the hand, and that's Mid-State Health Network. So our Medicaid clients come from there. So we get them from there. And I would like to contract with different ones. Haven't been able to branch out. COVID was really rough for that. It was very rough. Talking about COVID, we managed to stay open through COVID and continue to provide services. And I will tell you that they were much needed because the isolation, the lack of meetings, the lack of camaraderie or anything, people stayed home and they drank or they drugged more. So many people relapsed. So those are the areas though that we mainly work with. COVID was horrible for us. We used our detox rooms when we had COVID positive cases. We run with a staff of 30, we were talking about, and I said I have 7 full-time counselors. I have a clinical supervisor. There's myself. We have an intake coordinator. Sean, the guy I was talking about, he's a head tech supervisor. He's on the desk every Monday through Friday. And the rest of them are residential technicians mainly. And they're like the boots on the floor people. They're the ones we can't get along without because we have staff 24/7, 365 days a year. We're always there. There's always somebody there. There's always somebody to answer the phone. There's always someone there. Big job. I appreciate our technicians more than they will ever know, because if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be able to keep the doors open. And in today's world, it's hard enough to get people who want to work, let alone somebody who wants to work with adults who need help. We have an adult population only, 18 and up.
You mentioned Medicaid. Do you also accept private pay or private insurance?
We accept private pay, self-pay. We don't take private insurance right now. One day I would like to, but I would have to get my office manager on board with that, because that's a lot more work for them up there to do that. We've just recently transitioned from paper pencil charts to an electronic health record system. So we moved into that and we're still working the bugs out of that, but I would love it if we could take private pay private insurance in that. We also have a scholarship program. So if someone is in need and they can't pay and they're not Medicaid and they can't get in anywhere, we have a scholarship program and the center will pay. We actually have a person at the center right now on scholarship that we are paying for that person's care and everything. An average detox is 3 to 5 days and it's a flat fee of like $835. And I will tell you, we are the cheapest detox that there is anywhere. And there are not, I'm sorry, sir, go ahead.
What's the source of the scholarship?
The source of the scholarship? Sunrise. It's us. It's just the money that we have managed to put away and save. So that's the source of the scholarship. Yeah, and I believe that we have, I want to say $15,000 a year earmarked for just that need. And if the need ever arose and we needed more, we would come up with more. We also, as a staff, have what we call a gene fund, and we pay to wear jeans 1 day a week, $2. And we managed to keep that up. And that money we use to pay for if a client comes in and needs to get an ID. It costs $10 just to go get an ID. So if they have no money, which many of them have no money, we will chip in as a staff or whatever. If we don't have it in the gene fund, then we will pay for that. We have paid for prescription copays up to like $50. We had a young man who was blind, and we actually worked with Bayview Center to get him scheduled for surgery at U of M, a vision surgery. And we used our gene fund to help pay for part of that too. Because we all know the price of gas has gone skyrocket. So 58 cents a mile doesn't get you very far anymore, especially with the wear and tear on your car and that. So I understand it's going up to 62.5 cents, so July 1st. So they're gonna have a little bit of an increase. But so there's that. Yes.
Well, I'm sure you don't know.
We do. We reach out to St. Vincent's. St. Vincent's is awesome because we can go there. I believe we have gotten food from there before because, and also we have gotten like cribs if someone is transitioning out and needs something or needs furniture when they're transitioning out. We work very hard on the aftercare and making sure that people are set up. We just had somebody donate a tent and a sleeping bag. We try very hard to find safe housing. Sometimes a safe house is a tent and a sleeping bag. You know, if you have no place, but it's good weather. Well, we really appreciate it. Yeah, we get, so St. Vincent's helps us out. We get vouchers from the Salvation Army and they can go and get clothes. They can get those once every 6 months. So, and they get like a $25 voucher, but if they need more or something, they usually let them take it. Goodwill has given us vouchers every month. So we're very fortunate to have that. We have some really good community partners that we work with that are very helpful, and we're very appreciative of all of that. We have different church entities that will gift us, or people, they just gift us money. We do take donations. We are solvent though, and we have managed, like I said, to stay open through COVID, but we are a nonprofit organization too. We are hoping to grow. So so I was talking about the detox beds. So when I talk continuum of care, they start in the detox and then they move into the residential. And we have 2 levels of residential care. And this is like ASAM and jargon like that. So we have 3.1 and 3.5. 3.1 is you don't need as much. 3.5 is you need a lot of help, you know? And so that's what they do. And that they base like length of stay and how many core hours of groups and stuff they have to have and we have to provide. And clients generally stay in residential for up to 90 days. We have had a person who stayed 112 days. We have women who come in that are pregnant and they will stay until they have their baby. And if the baby is taken from them right away, because sometimes that happens, then they will come back and continue their treatment, hopefully. And then, like I said, we work for reunification. We work with the courts in that. We go to drug court every week and we're part of that. We have a board. We have a very good board. Judge Black is the head of our board. Nancy Spencer, who is the CEO at Alpena Health Center, is on our board. Lieutenant Grisham, I always want to say it wrong. The state police trooper is on our board, you know, and we have Carolyn Brumman, who's the Alpena County Commissioner. So we have a very good board. Something that happened at Sunrise recently was last Thursday, we actually had the Attorney General on site. We got to host for the Attorney General last week. That was a real honor. You know, because I don't know if you're aware of all the opioid settlement monies from the pharmaceutical companies in that. Alpena County is earmarked to get 1.2 something million. And the county commissioners get to decide where that money's gonna go and how they're gonna use it. So it could be earmarked, we have needs and the county has needs, you know, so like improving the drug court, getting transitional housing, things like that, or growing more outpatient, you know, maybe a community center, a drop-in center, you know, something like that would be great to have. So there's that too. But the residential, they have those groups all day long. There's 3 ways you can leave the center. 1, you can get kicked out. If you can't follow our rules, we're gonna kick you out. We kick you out. And it's your consequence. If you go to prison, because some of them go to prison, you know, if they can't. So 1, we can kick you out. 2, you can just choose to leave. We don't lock the doors. And the 3rd way is the best way. That is when you and your counselor decide that you've had the treatment that you need and you're ready to go back out and be a productive member in society. So everyone who leaves, we try very hard to transition them into an outpatient. If they're not from our area, transition them to outpatient someplace else. We have a full-time outpatient counselor too. And he provides groups and meets with all of them. We have 2 outpatient groups on site, which we have managed to also have throughout COVID. If somebody is intensive outpatient, then we allow them to come to our regular in-house groups, you know, they just have certain rules that they have to follow. We also, we work with MCOG and MDOC and the jails in them, and they send clients to us for groups. So they will come and we contract with them and they pay us to allow their people to come to our groups on site. We also do drug testing for the courts. So if someone needs a drug assessment, they can come to us and they pay a cash fee and we turn our report into the court. So I think Catholic Human Services is the only other one in town that does that. So that's a much needed service too. Outpatient, we can have outpatients for, gosh, there's one guy who's been coming to outpatient for almost 2 years now. You know, he needs it though, and he wants it. So if that's his lifeline to stay sober and stay in recovery, we want to supply that. So
Frequently, do clients just walk out if they leave, say for the evening?
So that depends on the circumstances, because what happens is some people really they're very impulsive. And if we just had that happen not long ago, we had a young man leave, he chose to walk off. He was angry, he got upset, and he said, I'm done. And there was no talking him into staying. Well, the next morning he called and said, I made a mistake. Can I come back? And so we do what we call a case present. And that's where our team gets together and that person comes up and they meet with us and they talk to us about why we should allow them to come back, what's going to be different, you know, and depending on what happened, then we decide as a team, yes, you can come back, or no, we're not going to allow you to. So it's we live in a very gray. I know we like black and white, you know, and we have to have these rules, but we are talking about people's lives. So in many cases, it's very gray. And I don't know if that's the answer people want to hear, but it's the nuts and bolts of it. It's the reality, you know. So if someone, and then when they come back, we drug test them and we'll PBT them and search all their belongings and everything again, you know, and we'll do the case present. And if we allow them to come back, then they're usually under very strict, you're on 0 tolerance, or, you know, if anything happens again, or you walk again, you're gone, don't come back. We get a lot of repeat flyers because people will say, they'll think I'm ready to go, and they'll sign the ASA form, against staff advice form, and they'll go out the door and they'll realize, oh my gosh, I wasn't ready. We get people who sign the ASA form and then don't leave. So then we have to delete that form, you know, because either a peer or a counselor or a residential technician or somebody has talked them into staying, and they stay. And like I said at the beginning, I always hope that they get one little nugget if they don't get anything else, one nugget that helps them in the future. So I think I answered the question. It's pretty gray. It is pretty gray. There are some things that get you kicked out and you cannot come back. We really frown upon bringing drugs or alcohol on site. Yeah, makes sense, right? But it does happen too. It was really nice when Shallow's did not sell beer. Shallow's sells beer now. So, oh, I'm telling you, one day I was sitting in my office. I was sitting in my office and you can see out the windows. And the next thing I know, this body jumped from the upstairs window down and took off through the snowbank. I said, so I went in and I said, fortunately, he did not get hurt and he did not come back. But it's like, guys, we don't lock the doors. If you want to leave, walk out. You don't have to jump out a window and run. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah, very, very impulsive. So we do have that. I did bring these too. So I think to talk about the outpatient. Oh, we have an amazing cook too. We do. We have an amazing cook. We got him from the courtyard. When COVID hit, then the courtyard closed. He just never went back, and we managed to snag him. He's a good cook. Very lucky. We're very lucky to have him with us. And like I said, they get chores, so they learn life skills too. Do you know, you would be surprised at the number of adults who don't know how to do laundry or how to make a bed or have never had to clean up after themselves or cook or do dishes or anything. It's just amazing, you know, all these things that I used to take for granted that you can't really take for granted. But we live and breathe recovery, and that's what we want for them. One time, there was an older gentleman, and he started crying, and I gave him a hug. And he thanked me afterwards, and he said that's the first hug he's had in 15 years. We can make a difference. One person can make a difference. And you never know who it is that you're going to be that difference for. Some of the people that I don't think are going to make it are the ones who make it. And the people that I think are going to make it walk out and start using again right away. You know, that just amazes me. Which brings me to, anybody familiar with Narcan? Okay. I brought Narcan. I would love it if everybody would take 1 or 2 home. And you were saying that you didn't need it anymore because they quit using. You could give me Narcan if you thought that I was overdosing and it wouldn't hurt me. All it can do is save a life. And as older people, we get drugs from our doctor, and sometimes we forget and we might take too much, not on purpose or anything, but your life could be saved just in that instance. It does, you don't have to be an addict to have your life saved with this. So we will be doing another drive-through event where we give this away again this year. I don't know, did anybody get some from us last year? Oh, we did a drive-through. It was well publicized too. We were out right at the edge of the road there and we gave away 200, I think 250 or 260 of these in one day. And we were in spirit. We were actually out in our pajamas that day. It was pajama day. Yeah, we do crazy things. But there is, it's really simple to use. There's a quick start guide in there, or there's like a 15-minute video that you can watch. Just Google it, you know, and you can save lives with Narcan. So everybody take 1 or 2. If you ever need more, let me know, because they should be everywhere. They should be throughout the college here. Yes. Any storage requirement? No, but there's an expiration date, you know, so I keep it in my car, and they have never said not to keep it in my car. It doesn't say that on it. And cars go between hot and cold. I have Narcan in my car. I have a little bumper sticker that I got from Julie Riddle from the Alpena News that says, I carry Narcan and will help if I can. I think that's really cool that she had those made and did that. But no, this lot right here expires November of 2024. And I can get all of these that I need. I just send for more when I need them. We try to put these in everyone's hands, whether they leave successfully or unsuccessfully from our facility. We try to get this in everyone's hands, regardless of if they just come for detox and say, I'm going, and they're an alcoholic and they say, well, I don't need that. I say, well, someone you know might need it. So take it anyhow. So we put this in everybody's hands that we can possibly get that into. This is there's a 2-pack in here, so there's actually 2 of them. It's the nasal one. So you just stick it up in there and, you know, and we have had clients who have been hit 6, 8 times with this and brought back in one setting. And drugs are getting harsher and harsher. Fentanyl is everywhere. If they think that they're taking heroin, many times it's laced with fentanyl. Cannabis can be laced with fentanyl now. Everything can be laced with fentanyl. A horror story one time, someone they were not able to hook up with a regular dealer. So they went to somebody they didn't know. That person died because shot himself with what he thought was heroin, but it had cement dust in it. Well, what would cement dust do to your arteries, you know? So, and I know that the health department has the harm reduction, you know, and we talk about harm reduction and that this is a harm reduction thing. If you keep this, you can save a life. Supplying people with clean needles, if that's the best way you can help somebody, do it, you know. Not that we do that, we don't do that, but there are ways that you can help. So, yeah, it's a rough job, but it's well worth it. So I do have those. I have brochures that talk about and have all our contact information and talks about the different levels of care that we provide and the admission criteria and stuff for us. We are also CARF certified. So that's the Commission for Accreditation of Rehabilitative Facilities. So we are CARF accredited. There's CARF and there's JCO, and those are the big ones. And I'm actually a CARF surveyor too. So I go out and have other places too. We are coming up on our CARF survey this summer. So we are CARF certified. We always learn and want to grow and do better. We have a lot of education-based, evidence-based treatments that we use, curriculum in that we use. We have gender-specific curriculum. So we have curriculum for men's groups, curriculum for women's groups. We use Thinking Matters. We have parenting groups, Love and Logic. There's a mental health series that we use that we go through grief and shame and guilt. Addicts are filled with shame. And if they go back out and use, for them to come back and ask for help again, I'm so very proud of them because they are felt. The last thing they want to do is say, I didn't make it, come back. They don't want to do that. We don't want them to do that. But you know what? I always just say, I'm glad you're back. I'm not glad you're back, but I'm glad you're back. Because it means that they're still trying. So we have evidence-based groups that we do all day long. I brought some of my cards. I brought descriptions of all of our different programs. So this one actually describes the detox program. We have 2 levels of detox, 3.2 and 3.7. And 3.7 is the Medicaid one where we have to have the nursing staff. The residential treatment prescriptions is there. Our staff ratio for clinical used to be 1 to 10. So 1 counselor per 10 clients. And now we have it like 1 to 7 because they're coming in much needier. There's a lot of dual diagnosis, you know, and the mental health needs there. We have, well, I guess I told you how many detox beds I have. We have 20 male residential beds and we have 15 female. So we can have 35 in-house at any time. And if we're not utilizing the detox beds and we have the opportunity to bring somebody in for residential, we'll put them in a detox room and move them out when we can. So we do that. Our outpatient, we can have like 60 because they generally meet once a week with a counselor and then go to the 2 groups, you know. So, but that's also by need. Like the guy who's been there for 2 years in it, he comes like once a month for a one-on-one counseling, but he comes to the groups all the time. So it's all individualized. Michigan last year moved to the ASAM assessment, the ASAM continuum assessment as our biopsychosocial assessment that we have to give for everybody coming in. And it's pretty in-depth. And then everybody has a treatment plan that is individualized to their goals and their needs and supportive of that. So length of stay, like I said, it can be up to 90 days. But if somebody's ready to leave in 30 days, we're not gonna keep them any longer than we have to. Because our goal is not to keep them, is to get them ready to go home. And have them go home and be safe. And then I also have outpatient stuff there too about the outpatients. So if you would like to take anything, take it. I don't even know what time it is. Oh, look at me. Yes. We are adults, so 18 and up. We get people, how old are you? Well, I shouldn't ask you that. We get people our age all the time, you know? We get people who have become addicted later in life. You don't know when it's gonna hit you, when something might happen. Many people have a triggering event, you know, they lose a spouse or something and they just start drinking. And they just start drinking and they keep drinking. And all of a sudden it's realized that they're drinking too much and then they need help. So.
What's your
We generally run, my goal is always to have us be above 90%. We generally run between 80 and 90% capacity. That's where we are. It's in many ways, it's like a revolving door because people choose to just leave. And like I said, we had a young non-binary person today leave. So if you're not familiar with that they are a they, them, their. And that's really hard. That's hard language to get. Oh my goodness. Because you're walking into a house full of women or a house full of guys and you're used to saying, hi guys, how you doing? No, hello everyone. We have to change our language, you know. We get transgenders. We have homosexuals, gays, lesbians, the non-binary. We have not had any furries yet, so. But we work with everybody. We don't discriminate. We try very hard to talk the language that is going to be most beneficial to them. It's really hard to talk to somebody as they or them, you know, rather than an individual. So, but it's been difficult for me. You know, it is a learning thing to move away and talk a different language than you've ever talked in your life, you know.
So are you
We're a nonprofit. Yep, we are a nonprofit. We have a board of directors. Yes.
Are you gonna talk about the new police program? I can't
Oh.
remember the name of it, but
Well, are you talking about Hope Not Handcuffs?
Yes.
Yes, Hope Not Handcuffs it's a great thing to have brought in, you know, and that's out at the sheriff's office and they have done that. And so we actually are part of that and they have angels that they call them who are trained to help people. We actually have angels on our staff too, who will go and help. So Hope Not Handcuffs is a great program where people can say, I need help. And instead of being put in jail or something, they will try and get them to a residential treatment facility such as ours and get them the help that they need. There's also the one at the state troopers. What is that one? There's Hope Not Handcuffs. And what is the other one called? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. But there's also Families Against Narcotics is in town here. And I'm actually a board member on there. Great group. If you want to learn about different resources or different things about that, like I said, this is everyone. Families Against Narcotics. We hosted the forum at the center this past month, and they also do the whole Zoom thing in that. And they usually have a group of people who will come up and present, and we hosted that, and it was about resources in the area. So Bayview Center was there, we were there, Catholic Human Services were there. Sometimes like Thunder Bay Therapy will show up, or Alpena Health Center might jump in there, you know, because they also all have behavioral health stuff that they do. So, Hope Not Handcuffs. I still can't think of it, but we also work with them and they bring people from the state troopers too. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of that one. I lost it.
those are emergency admissions.
Yeah, usually they can.
We don't have a waiting list then.
If we have a waiting list, we do soft handoffs too. So if we can't take somebody or we feel that they're not a good fit for us and would do better someplace else, we work with like Bear River or Great Lakes or down at 1016 or different substance use places throughout the state. We try very hard for a continuum of care and make sure that everybody has a safe place to go when they leave. So we like to have everybody set up with outpatient and someplace to go. Transportation is a bugger. We have a zero transportation policy at the center. So we don't transport ourselves, but we utilize Dial Ride. We also utilize the cab companies here. We have had people come on buses up, but generally they get their own transportation. But there's also Corey Winfield, who is 217 Transportation, and Northern Michigan Regional Entity, our PIHP in our area up here. They will pay for him to transport people to and from. There's also on the back of like the Medicaid cards, they can call for transportation. And if it is to a doctor's appointment or to a treatment facility or something, there's monies that way too. So transportation does become a problem every now and then, but we have community partners who are very helpful and we can usually come up with money or grants or donations to help people with what they need. We have paid for bus tickets out of our pockets before. You know, I think the worst one is if they want to go to Traverse City from here and they have to go by bus. Do you know that they have to go up to Mackinac, spend the night up there, and then come back down? And it's like 2.5 hours straight across.
Imagine they get there without having extracurriculars.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they sleep outside at the bus station, you know, up there too. So they're very resilient people. They are very resilient. And generally they don't give up on themselves. And we always said you would walk through a snowstorm to get your drug of choice. If you put as much effort into your recovery as you did into getting your drugs, you're going to have it made. Because they put a lot of effort into beating their habits. But I'll tell you, it's wonderful to see them on the other side. It is. Other questions, comments? That's a tough one. I would like to say that successfully completing, we are probably at a 90% ratio. Probably 90% of them successfully complete our program. Now, if they stay in recovery, that's different. If they can make it 5 years and become a person in long-term recovery, their odds of going back to using again is less than 15%. That's a tough one. It's a disease. We follow the disease model. It is a disease. And it's not something that you can fix by taking insulin or something. It's here and it's here and it's throughout you. So it's a disease. You know, I wish that there was an instant fix for it. But there's not. And like I said they have a window. We have a window of opportunity. And if we hit them at just the right moment or they hear just the right thing, that opportunity goes up. 90% is probably high. It also depends on the season, the temperature, and if we have a bigger male population or female population. Women tend to think that if they go home without success, that they are going to see their kids faster, and that's not the case. Usually it makes it worse. If they stop and they think, and they call it stinking thinking, and if they get that stinking thinking all the way through and they think something all the way through until they can come up with the worst possible scenario at the end, and they pause before they impulsively act, they generally do better. But it's worth it. And they are all worth it. And I call them phenomenal people because I am so proud of them each and every day. Because even in the ones that don't want to be in there are still very respectful. They are respectful too, generally. They have some potty mouths, but man, if I just say, oh my gosh, you guys hurt my ears. We're sorry, Miss Kathy. It hurts my ears. And then they try, but it's common language, you know? Yeah. It is, it's common language. Scary stuff.
How long has it been a 90-day program? I don't remember it being that long. It seemed like I was at my places for people to go to.
Yeah.
Long term.
Well, it has been since before my time, and I've been there more than 7 years. So it has been, and it's based on their need. I mean, Mid-State, the ones down here and here, they will, you know, we have to provide them with a safe discharge, a safe place to discharge. We have to try and remove all the barriers we can. So if their barrier is they don't have a safe place to go, even though they're ready to go, legally, they kind of have to keep them and allow us to keep them, you know? Yeah. So we have to fight because it,
Referrals from the hospital, but
Yeah.
it'd be short-term detox.
Yeah.
And we knew we were going to see them
Yeah.
again pretty soon.
yeah,
In ER, et cetera.
medical necessity. We have to prove medical necessity. If there's medical necessity for them to stay, then so it's all based on that. The biopsychosocial is, it can, depending on their needs, it can take up to 3, 4 hours. Sometimes we don't get through it in one setting. You know, we also use SNAP, which is strength, needs, abilities, and preferences. So we work through that. We use, is anybody familiar with the ACE assessment? The adverse childhood experience, and that's from when you're under 18 years old. That's hugely indicative
We're going
of,
to have a presentation.
are you? Well, my whole staff has had that training. We love to train. We get continuing ed credits all the time. We have needs all the time, you know, to carry on and learn more. Everybody on staff, we are all lifelong learners over there. We have to be, because this is a changing, evolving thing. The needs of people, they have gotten much sicker since I started.
Well, one of my questions would be about how healthy do they need to be? Talk about detox, and some are too medically
Mhm.
unstable. So if they're stabilized at the hospital, do you assess? I mean, do they have to be able to climb stairs? Like, talk to and send people different directions.
Mhm.
They were incapable of walking.
Yeah.
They were talking,
Yep.
but they were talking.
Well, we are not handicap free in our male building. So they do have to be able to climb stairs there because the dorms are upstairs. So they do have to be able to. We have walkers and wheelchairs and all of that. So
Do
we,
you ever take folks from nursing home to regain?
yep, yep, we would get people from there. We get people from the hospital. If they go to the hospital and have to detox at the hospital, we send people to the hospital to detox. There are higher care than we can provide, but we also get them from the hospital
So you
to
can
us.
take them back.
Yes. Yep. So, yep, once they go through and they get what they need, then they'll come and they'll finish their detox with us or move right into residential. Yeah. We try, there's also Project Assert in the hospital right now, which is a Catholic Human Service thing where they actually have people go, they have them stationed in the hospital, and they will actually, if they feel that they would be a good candidate to come to us for residential, they will send them to us, and they'll make arrangements with us through NEMRI. I call Northern Michigan Regional Entity NEMRI. So just so you put the two of those together, it's much easier. But so they work with us. We try to work together. I mean,
So that's based on them having an assessment done by the hospital social workers
Yeah.
or their staff.
by Project Assert, which is they have staff in there. They also have recovery coaches in the hospitals now. You know, It was supposed to be, when I was talking about working with DOC, that was supposed to be, we were going into the jails and we were going to provide groups in the jails. But because of COVID and everything, they wouldn't let people in the jails. So we allowed them to come our way instead. So, but if they had COVID, they couldn't come. So, yeah, because we do have to protect our clients too and ourselves.
So the programming has grown tremendously.
We work very hard and we have tried to make improvements and to learn and to provide the best services possible. We are one of the few that do detox, and actually we are pretty much the only one in northern lower Michigan anymore, because
So
Munson, I think,
do you
quit.
Have people detox with you and then go back to those other programs?
They can, yes, yes, they can.
So it's be close to paying.
Yeah. Yep, we prefer to keep them, just like Midstate will not allow us an outpatient contract because they will send us their detox clients and they'll send us our residential clients, but they want their people to come home then. So we set up outpatient in their region for them, you know, whereas with NEMRI, we have the whole contract. If I were to get one with the UP, which is called Northern Lakes or something, the whole UP region is, something like that. If I were to get that contract, they wouldn't give us outpatient either because they want their people to come home.
So do you have a percentage as far as how many folks are local folks versus from out area?
I would say that right now we're running about 60% from our region and 40% from the Midstate region. Sometimes that changes and grows, but we have been getting a lot more NEMRI clients than we have Midstate recently. And it's just worked out that way. They have been in Petoskey for a very long time, yeah. So yeah, they have some great things that they're doing over there too. Bear River is another one that's over Traverse City, Petoskey, Harbor Springs area, Bear River, and they are growing. They actually bought a school and turned a school into a treatment facility, and they are building a new building, and they are growing with leaps and bounds over there in that one. I don't see us growing like that. I don't know that Alpena would like us to grow like that. We are a little known entity that provides a great service. I hope so. I was gonna say, I try to get out and do anything. I mean, if somebody asks me to come speak at a church or do something, I'm more than willing. I'm not the techie person, even though I'm a super user on our electronic health record. I'm not really a techie person. I'm a people person. I like to get up and just talk. Even though I was a teacher and I used to do all these blackboard things and all that. Yeah. But anything else? Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And if there's anything, if you would like a tour or something, feel free to stop by. I love giving tours of the facility. I just have you sign a confidentiality agreement that whatever you see or hear there stays there, because we have local people and we have people from afar. So confidentiality is key. But thank you for having me.